Welcome to the podcast, episode 8. This is the Iggy, I'm the host, and we have a special guest today, an attorney, Jonathan. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming and being so busy.
Thanks.
This is the podcast, either you're a lawyer, like a Jonathan, a doctor, politician, CEO, or somebody who influenced community inside of the Central Florida and further when it comes to care and share. Today we'll have a really special audience, as well as a client and as an attorney who can help you. My first question would be, how did you decide to become an attorney? What motivates you to become an attorney?
That's a great question. I mean, a lot of people, I think, go to law school because it's some kind of calling. They've always known they wanted to do that. I gotta be quite honest with you, that wasn't how it was with me.
Okay.
My father is a retired law professor, so you would think it kind of runs in my blood, but really I just kind of fell into going to law school and actually really didn't like it at first. It took a while for it to click, and then once it did, I never looked back. So, becoming a lawyer was just kind of a thing that I did after undergraduate, and it's been great to me, and I've loved it ever since.
Good. And a lot of times attorneys are really kind of, not really people oriented, but they're just like, after the law school, I got many friends attorney after law school, they go there and forth, and when they see reality, it's different thing. You have that kind of personality, then you connect with the people. You open person as well.
Well, you kind of have to be. I mean, in personal injury and any kind of type of law that you have clients, you have to be open and available to people to have them come to you as opposed to going to somebody else. So at the very beginning of any client relationship, you have to realize people are people. Whether they've been accused of a crime, a victim of an accident, or something else is going on in their lives, they're still a human being. So it's important for you to be a person with them, and then they'll understand that you're there and trying to help them out as well from a person standpoint first, as opposed to trying to be a lawyer and talking over them, talking past them, but just trying to help them and be on a normal human level.
And as far as you do everything in simple language, no a lot of legal jargons that people are confused, don't know what to do.
We try. I mean, the best thing to do is talk to people in ways that they understand. I mean,
Yes.
Communication is key in any profession, but especially in the law, because there are a lot of things that you can talk past people, use legalese, use words that people don't see in their everyday life. That we may see every day, and it may seem easy to us, but you have to remember this is usually somebody's first time.
Yes.
Whatever legal issue they're involved in is usually their first time, so you need to talk to them like that and try to get them to understand what's going on so that they can be an active participant in it, as opposed to you using them. The client comes to you so you can facilitate whatever the issue is for them.
Great. So audience, if you need an attorney, you know where to go. And by the way, you open also the office too. You open your own law firm.
That's
right?
correct. Yeah,
That's congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
And that's in Orlando Avenue, Orange Avenue.
Yeah, our office is located in Orlando, but we service all of Central Florida. So yeah, we're open and ready for business.
Do you serve further than Central Florida, or just within the Central?
It depends on the situation, but generally our practice area is within Central Florida, from Ocala down to Palm Bay, from Cocoa to Lakeland. Anywhere in between, we will help people there.
Okay, so my other question is like that. You've been talking about there will be some changes regarding to the PIP. It's coming, some new laws. Can you share with our audience what that changes would be?
Sure. So in Florida, insurance for car accidents is kind of a weird situation. Florida has some of the least requirements for you to be able to legally drive in the state of Florida. For example, Florida is the only state in the nation, actually one of two states in the nation, that do not require minimum bodily injury insurance. And we never have. And what does that mean? That means you can get in an accident with somebody who can cause either a minor or catastrophic injury to you, and they may not have the type of insurance you would need to get a recovery from you. So Florida has never had that, and right now the legislature is in the process of changing that. So what is in the process right now, what has passed the Senate and passed the House and is waiting for the governor's signature, is a change to the Florida no-fault law, which is going to potentially add $25,000 of required bodily insurance, but because of that, they will remove the PIP. So right now, only thing required in the state of Florida to legally drive is PIP and property damage insurance. And what that is PIP is insurance that you have on your vehicle for you to cover you for any kind of medical examinations or medical treatment you need to get, whether you're at fault for the accident or not. And the other type of insurance that's required is property damage, which is if you cause damage to somebody else's property, you'll have insurance to cover that. So that's the minimums right now. So Florida right now in Tallahassee is potentially going to get rid of all that change it to have a minimum $25,000 of bodily injury, get rid of PIP, and then require a small amount of medical payment to pay some of the medical expenses. So we're potentially seeing a pretty big overhaul in the insurance law for the state of Florida we haven't had in decades.
Oh wow, well this is such a great, inspirable information, and thank you so much for sharing the rest of the audience. As an insurance broker, I know there's many people don't even understand the jargons of the insurance, especially legal language.
Sure, and that's why, you know, one of the other things too, a caveat to this, regardless if the law passes or not, is everybody needs to understand, and I try to advocate this as much as possible, is you need to have under or uninsured motorist coverage on your insurance policy. This is the most important type of insurance you can carry in the state of Florida because we don't require a minimum bodily injury. And what uninsured motorist is if somebody hits you and causes an injury or an accident to you, you can get a recovery whether they have insurance or not. So if you have uninsured motorist coverage, there's actually extra insurance for you that can cover you in case the other person either has no insurance, has very little insurance, or is like a hit and run and drives away. So it's very important for people to understand they need to have that, because a lot of people reject it and don't understand what they're rejecting.
I was about just to say that many of them take another types of provisional policy, adding policy and coverages, but they actually decline the most important
Exactly.
one.
Yep.
So you have been, how long have you been in practicing the law in the state of Florida?
Going into my 13th year now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So after 13 years, how many, I mean, you have like over millions of dollars settled for your clients. But if there's one particular case that you've been emotionally and logically attached to it, that changed you who you are today.
Sure. I guess it's kind of hard to name just one of those type of cases. I think what the cases that get you the most involved are people who are going through a really bad accident, who now their lives are really forever changed. They've become paralyzed, they've lost a loved one, you know, something really awful has happened. And one that sticks out in my brain is one that I handled a few years ago, where just like we're talking about the importance of having uninsured motorist coverage on your policy, is this client was involved in an accident in the middle of the night. The person drove off, and the problem was it left the person paralyzed from the neck down. Wow. And the real problem was that there was nobody to go after because the person that hit them drove off, never to be seen again. And luckily, the car that they were in had some level of uninsured motorist coverage in it. Now, it was a very tiny amount considering the level of injury, but having to go to their house, you know, help them from the hospital to their home, watch them have to retrofit their home with things to now that they have to have because they're paralyzed. You know, seeing people's lives really change, you know, kind of gets you, because you realize that, you know, in a blink of an eye, anything can happen. Yeah. You know, your audience may or may not know, but Interstate 4, or what we call I-4 here, was just deemed to be the most dangerous highway in the nation.
I bet.
So, you know, it's very scary out there when, you know, you never know what's going to happen, and next thing you know, you're involved in an accident and your life is forever changed.
Yeah. I have a lot of constructions, many signs, visible, invisible. People are rushing up, try to make to the work, try to get off the work, and next thing you know, somebody just crashed. Good. And my other question, like, what cases do you generally handle? What is your niche? What is your type of the laws that you mostly practice?
So our law firm handles primarily any kind of bodily injury or physical injury cases, or car accidents, slip and falls, things like that. Anything from a minor accident to a catastrophic one, those are the ones that we focus on.
And I also want to touch one thing that you do. You also are involved in the community a lot. Mm-hmm. Can you share with us and what particular event that's coming? What do you do for a community besides just being an attorney? I
appreciate you asking that. That is one of the most important things of when we opened this firm, was to be community based. And right now, my partner and I are involved in a lot of things in the community. Particularly in a couple weeks, we're doing an event with the Harbor House, which helps domestic violence victims and their families in Central Florida. Try to end domestic violence, end abuse. The Harbor House does great things for the community. It provides a safe place for people and their families to go to who are involved in bad situations, gives them resources, education, and takes care of them to try to give them a way out. So, because sometimes people feel once you're in that situation, there's nowhere to go. Either they don't have the resources, or they just feel like they can't go anywhere, and Harbor House does a lot of great work. Well, because of the pandemic, they were hurt just like the rest of us. For sure. And one of the hardest things for them to come up with, even in the good times, are diapers and wipes and some other critical things for babies and growing families. So we're involved in what we're calling the Cram the Van event. Harbor House has got a new van that helps move things around, and we want to cram it full of as many diapers and wipes that we can, so that we can help them out so they can continue helping the community. And those are the two hardest things for them to come by, are diapers and wipes. So we want to try to help them get as many of those as we can. We're doing that on May 15th and May 16th here in Central Florida. So if anybody can come out, you can drop off the diapers and wipes. We'll take it from there. You just drop them off and we'll take them. The other things we're involved in is I'm a guardian ad litem, so we try to help with that kind of things as well, and just try to always be involved in the community. A few years ago, I was deemed the Volunteer of the Year for Orange County's Teen Court, which is a diversion program for teens who get in trouble with the law. So we try to do a lot of things to try to stay active in the community and try to give back, because the rising water raises all boats, and that's what we want to do, to make sure everybody's doing well, because better off you're doing, we're doing, everybody's doing, so we try to help everyone.
Yes, so you educating, like I said, my podcast is all about educating, bringing the great guests. It's not just about advertising, we'll get there. But just sharing, when you see that we have a care and share, and we have a love and passion toward others. Others have no choice than giving us back in return.
Right.
My last question would be to you. If I'm a client, or somebody wants to pick it up and go to school, don't know where to go, and we cover pretty much what we cover, but there's one last thing that you can share with an audience, just from being a client to choosing in a school. Share what would you do, what would your suggestion and advice would be?
To help somebody go through like law school? Or
to law school and even to a client. So you have now two questions.
Okay, so if you're interested in becoming an attorney, prepare yourself. It's a long path, and it can be a very expensive path depending if you get scholarships or whatever law school you're going to go to. So do your research, make sure you go into a law school that's going to be able to give you a path into having a successful career. I kind of came into a weird time as my adult life, I've been through multiple panics, crisis, recessions, and everything. So, sometimes the biggest thing about going to law school is ensuring you have an idea of what you want to do for a career path. And when I came out of law school, I started off as a prosecutor because I wanted to get the trial skills. I thought that was going to be the job for me. And from the experience I got there, I moved on to doing some other things and doing what I'm doing now. So I think the biggest thing is just make sure you have good grades, one, and then make sure whatever school you're going to is going to help you get into the career field that you want to get into, because being a lawyer is not for everybody.
No, it's not.
And you don't have to be a lawyer once you get out of law school. There are many other paths you can go to with that JD. So there are multiple things you can do. It opens multiple doors. So I would just be cognizant of what you're doing, what school you're going to go to, and how much money you're spending, because schools can be very expensive.
The most important thing. Now,
Yeah.
if I'm a client,
Yeah.
are you gonna do the same thing for the client?
Well, yes.
Why you are different than everybody else?
Sure.
Why
So-
why the people should do business with you, comparing thousands of
Well, I mean,
other attorneys?
So we try to give them a little more hands-on approach in that, you can call my cell phone at any time,
Okay.
you can text my cell phone anytime, and we'll try to take care of you. But really the biggest thing for any client who's been through an accident is just to ensure that you're getting shepherded through the process correctly. Because there are good ways and bad ways of doing this, of getting through to make sure you get your body taken care of, because number one is wellness. You want to get back to feeling how you were before the accident, especially if you suffered a catastrophic accident. You want to get back on your feet, you want to be back to the person you were, and then the rest of it will take care of itself. But you want to make sure that you're with an attorney who you feel comfortable with, who you can talk to, and who's going to make sure that your best interest is their best interest. And to just make sure you're going to see the right doctors, make sure you're going through the process correctly, and then make sure when it comes time to the end of it, you feel comfortable whatever that end is going to be. Not every case is $1 million case, not every case is a low value case. Cases can resolve anywhere in between there, but the number one thing is to make sure you get taken care of and you feel comfortable getting through there. And having somebody be able to also talk to you about the medicals. Doctors sometimes throw out a lot of words and do a lot of things that you don't really understand. And it's good to have somebody by your side who can kind of try to explain it to you as well, of what you're going through, what you can expect, and what the rest of your life may look like as a result of the accident you were involved in.
Okay, that's a great explanation. There's one more thing left. You covered pretty much everything, but there's one more thing that people can reach you, people can make suggestions. What would you do for them? Just like you said, you're not just helping the one person, you're helping multiple families. The majority of your business is based on referrals.
Right. Yeah, and that's most of what comes through. What makes you feel good as an attorney, no matter what you practice, is when you get referrals back from either prior clients, family members, friends, who feel comfortable enough to put their name behind your name so you can help their friends and family. So that's always the best thing, is that if people refer friends and family, that's when you know you're doing a good job.
Good. Thank you so much. And this is the episode 8. Our special guest and attorney, Jonathan. Jonathan, thank you so much for being here. I'm looking forward to a couple more episodes down way in the road so we can talk about other stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you, Igor.
Thank you so much.